Hello everyone and welcome to the 22nd episode of Let Your Voice Soar. My name is Jeff Alani Stanfill. I'm your vocal coach here at Voice Soaring Studios. First off, I want to thank you for joining me on this journey to becoming the best singer that you can be by learning more about the concepts and exercises I teach to my students here and online to singers all around the world. So thank you so much. So many wonderful things are happening here at Voice Soaring Studios. We just launched our brand new website at www.voicesoaring.com. On the site, you can find out all the ways to take lessons with me either in person or online, and you can also learn more about our learning resources, including my instructional program, Let Your Voice Soar, available as a digital download, and the From Voice Studio to Stage Masterclass video I taught with tenor David Phelps. So click on the link below and go directly to the site for purchase. The concept we're going to discuss, define, and practice today is one that is near and dear to my heart because it is the one concept that changed my voice for the better almost immediately, and that is laryngeal stabilization. First off, let me define what laryngeal stabilization means to me, and hopefully it will speak to you. A stable larynx simply means it doesn't move when you don't want it to. This doesn't mean that it's locked into position, but rather is stable enough to float on a cushion of compressed air while the vocal cords do their job of creating vibration and changing pitch as air passes through them. I know that sounds a little complicated. I always like to share my trials and tribulations as a singer with my students so they can, and you can see that I've gone through almost every vocal challenge there is. In fact, there are very few vocal challenges that I haven't seen or experienced. When I was a student in university, I heard a lot about how the larynx needs to go down and stay down. I grew up singing in my dad's church, and as a singer who came from a gospel background, I believe I sang somewhat naturally but definitely needed training. I went off to university to study voice. There I heard this dropping the larynx concept and began employing it, and then began to develop a lot of tension in my throat. I began to push my larynx down with the root of my tongue. This can cause a sundry of vocal issues, including bowing of the vocal folds, difficulty transitioning vocal registers, a loss of high notes, and an imbalanced middle voice. The concept and exercise I'm going to teach you today takes a bit of patience. So bear with me and give this a try, and with a bit of time, you will hopefully have a greater understanding of laryngeal stabilization. Here's a few things to remember before you start the exercise. Make sure that your rib cage isn't locked open. The more you can feel the back rib cage open, the more you'll feel the front of the rib cage isn't going to lock open like this. So the more we can just keep it relaxed in the front and open in the back, that's going to give you a lot more space and power. Next, we want to make sure that your neck is not tight as you go through the exercises. Neck tension is the bane of all singers. It's been a real big issue for me over the years as I've had many injuries to my neck. So I always have to make sure that I'm monitoring neck tension and making sure that my neck is not locking as I go through these scales. Okay? Posture. Now, I'm sitting here playing the piano, but if you're sitting at your desk, make sure that you're sitting up tall and that your spine feels vertical but not rigid. You want to make sure that it's fluid and that you can easily move as you need to when you're breathing. The first thing we need to do is to find a slightly lower position for the larynx to start from. That way, eventually, when the larynx needs to come up, it will have room to come up. But if we start with a larynx that's already high, it's not going to have room to move. So let's start at C3 for the guys, C4 for the girls. What we're going to do is we're going to breathe the larynx down slightly through the hide the yawn position. I believe we've talked about this in previous episodes, and I also discussed this in my instructional program, Let Your Voice Soar. By taking that yawn position with the mouth closed and the tongue resting in the mouth, like this, you're going to feel your larynx drop a little bit. Now, I have a very kind of high speaking voice. I always wanted one of those more resonant speaking voices. And when I do this, I have a little bit more resonance in my sound. Okay, so you're going to drop your larynx, put 2 fingers here on your larynx. You're not pushing it down at all. Remember, we're never trying to push the larynx down. We're just dropping it slightly through the hide the yawn position. Everyone knows that when you're trying not to yawn in front of someone, we go, and you can really feel your larynx drop there. All right, so place 2 fingers on the tip of your larynx and do this. Make sure your tongue is nice and free. When it's resting in the mouth in that hide the yawn position, the tongue should feel very spongy and soft. If it's rigid and hard, you're going to start depressing the larynx. We don't want to depress the larynx. We want the larynx to drop slightly on that inhale on the hide the yawn. So I want you to hum on any pitch. I'm going to pick F for me. Girls, you can start at F. Guys, you can start at low A. It doesn't matter where you start, okay? So let's try this together. That feels very, very stable and steady. The next thing we want to do is go back down to C3 for the guys, C4 for the girls. And we're going to sing a very simple, easy interval of a third on a hum like this. Just like that. Once again, girls are going to be up here. Guys are down here. Here we go. Now you'll notice that if you go to that third and you let your larynx move, it may sound like this. Now, although I got to the pitch, I did feel a slight adjustment in my larynx, and I don't want that. So one thing that may help you with this is to feel a slight portamento up and a slight portamento down. Portamento is a nice way of saying slide up and slide down. And so if you feel that little portamento, now, I do use a lot of Italian terminology. All of the stuff that I'm teaching you is for every singer. It doesn't matter if you're a pop singer, a rock singer, a classical singer, a country singer, or a musical theater singer. All of this stuff applies to every singer across the board. Okay, so once again, place your fingers here. Inhale through that hide the yawn position. Let your larynx drop slightly. And try not to let it move when you go up to that third. So now we're going to add on to the exercise. We're going to add a portamento up on the vowel E, and then you're going to pronounce the 5 Italian vowels E, A, O, and U like this. Breathe through your nose. Mi, A, O. So if you watch me do the whole exercise, I'm really not going to open my mouth until I get to E, like this. Here we go. I'll demonstrate it one more time. Mi, A, O. Now you by yourself. Hum up all the way and down, and mi, a, o, u. Here we go. Now let's go to a fourth. Hum up. By yourself. Now let's go to a fifth. There's the fifth. Remember, try as much as you can not to let your larynx move as you ascend to that interval of a fifth. So breathe your larynx slightly down through that hide the yawn position. By yourself. Excellent. Make sure that you're drinking water while you're doing these exercises. It's extremely important. Here we go, up to a sixth. By yourself. Great. Now you'll notice when I'm doing this exercise, I'm letting my hand come out in front of me. This can really help you to find that stabilization. Okay? Now up to the seventh. Here we go. By yourself. Great. Now we are to the octave, C to C. Okay? Once you've accomplished this and felt like your larynx is not really moving, it's going to feel really amazing. When we apply this to a song in the next episode, you're going to really get an understanding of how this works. All right, here we go. By yourself. Excellent. This is one of those concepts that is going to take a little while to master, and it will give you great results, and the payoff is really big. Once you learn that, hey, my larynx doesn't need to go up every time I go up the scale. Now, eventually, especially for high sopranos, the larynx is going to have to come up. If you're a belter, the larynx is going to have to come up. But we wanted to start in a slightly lower position in order to have more acoustical space, a much richer and warmer sound. And this applies, like I said, to all singers. I thought it would be great to end these episodes with something that helps me get through every day, something positive. You know, there's a lot of negativity on the internet. If you look at what's happening on social media, it's crazy out there. There's so much negativity. One of the things that I like to do as a person is to surround myself with positive people. People that have joy in life. People that have goals in life. People that are not haters. They're not gossips. They're not out tearing people down. I like to surround myself with good, positive people. That makes me feel better about life. And I know that by hanging out with positive people, I can always just call that person up and go, yeah, hey, I'm having a really bad day. Can I talk to you about this? So that's something that I recommend that you do. Find positive people, people that are going to lift you up, not people that are going to tear you down. It's really important, especially as a performer. It can only benefit you, and it can benefit them, because if you're positive, they'll be positive. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please put a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to the channel and turn that little notification button on, because that way you'll know when I just released a new video. So until next time, keep singing, love each other, and let your voice soar.